Samyam Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Parliamentary Proof Committee formed to probe fraud of cooperatives seeks information from Home Secretary and Inspector General of Police. Data show fraud of 11 million rupees in a single year. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal yet to resign despite falling in minority, makes last-ditch effort to delay new government formation to seek the vote of confidence on 12th July. Britain's head of state, King Charles, officially appoints Labour leader Keir Starmer as the new Prime Minister. Rachel Reeves becomes the UK's first female Chancellor as Starmer appoints his cabinet. And Venezuela and Canada to battle for a place in the semi-finals of the Copa America. The two sides to square off at 6:45 a.m. Nepal time tomorrow morning. Nepal police has informed the Parliamentary Committee formed to probe the abuse of funds of cooperatives that more than 620 million rupees from Supreme Cooperative had been invested in Gorkha Media and other companies related to the entity. The committee had summoned Home Secretary, Inspector General of Police and the chiefs of the Central Investigation Bureau and the Crime Investigation Department to seek information about the abuse of funds of cooperatives. The police officials had informed about the 29 cooperatives included in the terms of reference of the investigation committee, saying the existing mechanism of police could not investigate the fraud related to cooperatives. The police officials also identified the need for a separate mechanism to do so. Nepal police informed that a total of 5,300 complaints had been filed related to the fraud of cooperatives so far. Of them, 98 cases have been filed. Police has informed that complaints have been filed regarding abuse of 11,664,700,000 rupees of 55,410 depositors. The Parliamentary Committee formed to probe the fraud of cooperatives has been recording information from the police regarding the complaints filed, while also interrogating the officials of the entities regulating cooperatives and investigating the irregularities. The nationwide police investigation has shown that only a few individuals involved in the abuse of funds of cooperatives have been taken actions against, while most have remained at large. Delayed investigation and action into the abuse of funds of cooperatives has led to large amount of money reaching the countries, other countries, while most operators of the cooperatives have absconded. Based on the statistics of the police, 98 cases related to cooperatives across the country have been filed in the ongoing fiscal year. A total of 5,328 complaints have been filed at the police departments. Based on the police statistics, around 55,410 individuals have become victims of fraud of cooperatives. Based on these statistics, the investigation being conducted by the Parliamentary Proof Committee requires to formulate a basis for return of the fund deposited by the victims. Ongoing police investigation has shown fraud of 11,664,700,000 rupees in the past 1 year. Despite more than 11 billion rupees been defrauded from more than 50,000 victims in a single year, actions have yet to be taken. A total of 1,150 individuals have been alleged of abusing funds of cooperatives. With only 294 arrested, 856 are still absconding. With the objective of ensuring the operators of cooperatives under investigation remain inside the country, the police department has been calling for monitoring from other departments as well. But such a support has not been received. The highest amount of abuse of fund of cooperatives has been reported in Gandaki. Concluding the abuse of around 4 billion rupees in the period of 1 year in Gandaki, police has arrested 113 individuals, while 251 are still at large. Investigation has shown the abuse of 2 billion rupees in the Kathmandu Valley. Operators of many cooperatives have been found of investing funds in private companies, while many have also absconded with the money. Investigations have shown that companies and assets, including land, have been named under the ownership of relatives. Because of this, the recommendations of the committee to ease legal obstacles to ensure the return of funds hold significance. As complaints equivalent to funds abused through the cooperatives have not been filed, sources of revenue of many depositors have not been identified as well. Victims of the fraud of cooperatives have been protesting every day, while largest party demanding for the probe in the fraud related to cooperatives, Nepali Congress and the party leading the probe committee, CPN-UML, are making preparations to form a new government. However, it remains to be seen if the victims will receive justice from the new government involving two largest parties of the country. The Pushpakamal Dahal-led government has fallen into minority following the agreement between two major parties at the parliament, Nepali Congress and CPN-UML. Both the new partners had urged the Prime Minister to resign. But Premier Dahal is preparing to take the vote of confidence from the Parliament on 12th of July, next Friday. The Prime Minister is high on confidence of clearing the floor test. CPN Mahesh Sanar has even raised doubts over the Congress-CML alliance and suggested the Prime Minister to go for the confidence vote. Premier Dahal has the support of 32 parliamentarians from his party, 21 from Rashtriya Swatantra Party and 10 from CPN Unified Socialist, making up for a total of 63. However, of the 275 seats in the lower house, the votes of at least 138 is required to form a government. It is uncertain whether Janamot, that has 6 seats, and Nagarik Unmukti, that has 4 lawmakers, will once again lend support to Prime Minister Dahal. But even their votes would not suffice for a majority. CPN-UML has hence suggested the Prime Minister to pave way for the formation of a new government by furnishing his resignation. In the new alliance, Nepali Congress has 88 votes and CPN-UML 79, making up for a total of 167. Their alliance also has the support of Loktantrik Samajwadi Party with 4 seats and Janata Samajwadi with 7. Janata Samajwadi Party Nepal with 5 seats in the lower house also seems inclined towards joining the Congress-CML alliance so far. Rashtriya Prajatantra Party, that has 14 seats, has meanwhile hinted of supporting the new alliance if they had a clarity regarding constitution amendment. CPN Unified Socialist Chairperson Madhav Kumar Nepal has identified the need for making the Socialist Forum an active entity. He said that Socialist Forum had also to be made active to hold discussions on the impact of the new government on national politics. At the oath-taking ceremony of the newly elected officials of CPN Unified Socialist, Chairperson Nepal said that the party could not remain a mass spectator. He identified the need for making the Socialist Forum an active and strong political entity. Madhav Kumar Nepal has been selected as the unanimous chairperson of the CPN Unified Socialist, Jalannath Khanal as the senior leader, and Ghanashyam Bhusal as the general secretary alongside 93 central members. The party has 21 officials and 299-member central committee. However, because of several aspirants, the party was not able to select senior deputy chairperson, and secretary among other officials and central members. The party is to give a final shape to its central committee within 10 days. In our public voice segment, we have asked in several provinces what suggestion they have for Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal, who has not resigned despite falling into minority. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
राजीनामा गरेर चाहिँ बाटो खोलिदिन चाहिँ ठीक हुन्छ
उहाँले अब सक्नुहुन्छ भने आफ्नो उसको विश्वासको मत जितेर आफ्नो सत्ता लिन सक्नुहुन्छ भने लिनुस् हैन भने सरकार छोड्नुस्
बहुमत नपुग्ने भन्नाले उहाँले तुरुन्त चाहिँ नैतिकताको आधारमा राजीनामा दिदिएपछि सबभन्दा बेस्ट होला
प्रधानमन्त्री ज्यूले चाहिँ संविधानको परिधि भित्र रहेर खेल्न खोज्नु भएको हो भने उहाँलाई चाहिँ मौका दिनुपर्छ
सकिन्छ भने राष्ट्रिय सहमतिको सरकार बनाउनुस् सकिन्न भने अब नैतिकताको आधारमा राजीनामा दिनुस्
अल्पमतमा रहेको प्रधानमन्त्रीलाई चाहिँ नैतिकताको आधारमा हेर्ने भने राजीनामा दिदा नै उपयुक्त लाग्छ
दुईवटा ठूला दलहरू मिलेर जुन यो सरकार गठन गर्न लागिरहनु भएको छ उहाँहरूले मार्ग प्रशस्त गरेर अगाडि बढ्दाखेरि राम्रो देखिन्छ
बहुमत गुमाइसकेको सरकार चाहिँ पदमा बसिरहनु उचित हुँदैन
प्रधानमन्त्रीले चाहिँ अहिले चाहिँ नयाँ बन्ने सरकारलाई चाहिँ स्थान दिदा उपयुक्त हुन्छ
अल्पमतमा परेर सत्ता सम्हालिरहनु भन्दा नैतिकताको रूपले राजीनामा दिदा नै उपयुक्त हुन्छ
पदमै बसिरहनु नैतिकताले दिदैन तुरुन्तै निकास दिन उपयुक्त हुन्छ भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ
अल्पमतमा परेको सरकारले राजीनामा दिनुपर्छ
तुरुन्त प्रधानमन्त्रीले चाहिँ राजीनामा दिनुपर्छ
यसै अल्पमतमा परिसकेपछि उहाँले स्वतः राजीनामा दिनु यत्रो समयसम्म त केही गर्न सकिएन त्यो 30 दिनमा के गर्न सकिन्छ र त्यसमा अडि राख्ने त्यसमा चाहिँ सबभन्दा राम्रो राजीनामा दिनु सबभन्दा उपयुक्त
उहाँले सरकारबाट चाहिँ छोड्नु नै उपयुक्त हुन्छ
It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Before we ask today's question, let us take a look at the result from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we had asked, why do you think ministers from Rashtriya Swatantra Party who were about to resign did not visit after visiting the Prime Minister? 34% were for A, weak decision making, 27% were for B, hopes for the incumbent government, and 39% were for C, an attempt to ploy. Here is our today's question. What do you term the local levels teaching moral science at schools? Your options are A, an appreciable effort, B, make it mandatory across the country, and C, implement in practice as well. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. It is now time for a short break, but for more news, just stay with us. Despite the end of risk of coronavirus or COVID-19, more than 1.6 million doses of vaccines have begun arriving in Nepal in aid. And despite receiving the vaccines for free, the trend of receiving anything for free, even after the end of its necessity, has raised questions on our intentions. 4 million doses of vaccines against coronavirus have been wasted in Nepal. The country needs to find ways of disposing these vaccines. However, in such a situation, donor agencies have provided more doses of vaccines that are not even necessary, while the government does not have any plans for their utilization. Risk of coronavirus no longer exists in Nepal. Despite a few cases, patients with normal symptoms recover soon. A total of 67.7 million doses of vaccines against coronavirus have been received by Nepal, either by purchasing or in aid so far. Most of the Nepali nationals have also been vaccinated against coronavirus. It is also why the risk is now microscopic. However, 1,100,160 doses of vaccines against coronavirus have entered Nepal since 30th June, while 500,000 more doses are to arrive in the coming days. The government is receiving the vaccine through Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. The main question for the government on who would these vaccines be inoculated with. The government does not seem to have formulated any plan in this regard. These vaccines are not necessary at the moment. However, as the government has been receiving these vaccines, it has begun formulating plans for their use. The vaccines are being received on the basis of the commitment of Gavi during their shortage. But vaccines were required back then and not now, and Nepal does not even have any plans for their use. This situation also raises questions on if the donor agencies are making Nepal a dumping site for the vaccines. Of the vaccines received by Nepal so far, 2.9 million doses have been wasted without being used. Many of them were not used before their date of expiry, while others were not used within a certain time of being opened from their container. The government is concerned about disposing 4 million doses of Sinovac because of the expiry of date for use. And despite the vaccines against coronavirus now arriving in Nepal under aid, the government was not able to communicate its necessity to the donor agencies, because of which unnecessary vaccines are being stockpiled. These vaccines will never come to use and resources will be spent in their disposal following their expiry. Time now for the international news. Britain's head of state, King Charles III, officially appointed Labour leader Keir Starmer as the Prime Minister during an audience at Buckingham Palace. A photograph released by the palace showed the monarch shaking hands with Starmer, whose party won a landslide election victory. The king earlier accepted the resignation of Conservative leader Rishi Sunak. Rachel Reeves becomes the UK's first female chancellor as Keir Starmer appoints his cabinet. Angela Rayner is made Deputy Prime Minister and Levelling Up Secretary. The new Prime Minister vowed to restore trust in politics and build a government of service in his first speech after succeeding Rishi Sunak. Earlier, Sunak said he would step down as Conservative Party leader after Labour's landslide victory in the general election. We have more news coming up, but right now it is time for yet another short break.
Sports news.
A pair of surprise stories as the 2024 Copa America will battle for a place in the semi-finals as Venezuela and Canada square off at AT&T Stadium tomorrow morning. La Vinotinto shocked everyone by topping Group B with 9 points, defeating Jamaica 3-0 last weekend, while the Canucks were the Group A runners-up after hanging on to a goalless draw with Chile on matchday 3. If Venezuela emerge victorious from this upcoming encounter, they will advance to the semi-finals of this tournament for the first time since 2011. Their previous two quarter-final appearances at the Copa America resulted in defeats to Argentina both times, losing 2-0 to them at this stage in 2019. Since suffering a 3-1 defeat to Mexico in June 2019, the Venezuelans are unbeaten in 8 consecutive matches versus CONCACAF oppositions. Meanwhile, last weekend, the Canadians achieved something rarely seen before in this competition, becoming just the third nation to advance beyond the group stage of their first ever Copa America, with the other two being Mexico and Honduras. Canada will hope to follow in the footsteps of the Mexicans and Hondurans, who each advanced beyond the quarterfinals of this tournament in their debut appearances. The match will kick off at 6:45 a.m. Nepal time. Cricket Association of Nepal, CAN, has decided to seek clarification from 4 officials and members for protesting against the NAT and spreading rumours. Today's meeting of the National Cricket Governing Body has decided to seek clarification from 4 officials, including Central Vice President Roshan Kumar Singh, for spreading rumours related to CAN while Team Nepal were competing at the T20 World Cup in the United States and West Indies. CAN is to seek clarification from members Madhav Kumar Karmacharya, Durga Raj Pathak and Chetnath Podal. Meanwhile, the Nepal Premier League included in the calendar of CAN is to be held in the Nepali month of Mongsir. The National Cricket Governing Body has also decided to include Sandeep Lamichhane, who has been cleared by the High Court in the case related to alleged rape in Grade A. The NAT has assigned the responsibility of reaching a decision on Adil Ansari, who has been cleared of allegations of match fixing, has been assigned to the disciplinary committee. Meanwhile, CAN has also suspended Apsari Begum from the women's team for violating the code of conduct after misbehaving with team manager and coach. A release issued by CAN has stated that other decisions are to be taken into the matter following additional investigations. CAN has also formed a 7-member Women's Development Committee with first-generation player and captain Lekh Bahadur Chetri. It has also decided to construct indoor training center in all 7 provinces, turf wickets, and reconstruct the pitch and gym hall of the Tribhuvan University International Cricket Grounds after receiving budget from the International Cricket Council (ICC). That is all for the moment. Up next is the news in Nepali. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.